We've all done it. We bought something that we really regretted. It's probably gathering dust in a dark corner of your closet, and every time that you look at it, you just get filled with guilt. It's like a failed level of Tetris, where poor decisions just pile up. So today, I'm giving you the 6 things that you'll always regret buying so that you can avoid them from now on. But before we jump into them, I want to give you a quick reminder that enrollment to my new signature course, Master the Art of Personal Style, closes on July 12th. My goal with this course is ultimately that you'll avoid regretful clothing purchases and to know how to build a more efficient wardrobe, one that's actually unique to you. So be sure that you reserve your seat today. The response has been amazing so far, and I'm just so honored that nearly 400 of you have already signed up. If you're interested, you can click the link in the description box below or just type in dearlybethany.com and that's where you'll find it. Okay, let's get started with the tips. First, items with cheap buttons. Even some of the most expensive brands can cut corners with a cheap button. It's even worse if they didn't bother to reinforce them. One of my favorite jumpsuits had cheap buttons on it, and they were barely sewed on. After about 10 times of wearing it, they hadn't reinforced the buttons, and so they just started popping off one by one. And now I have to actually go in and sew them back on, and that's something that I generally put off. On the other hand, some of my all-time favorite pieces in my closet have beautiful buttons. They're mother of pearl, some of them have covered buttons, some of them have little hooks around the button, and it's so charming and beautiful and timeless. And it can become a cherished piece if the brand actually cares enough to give you that attention to detail. The next thing to avoid is uncomfortable shoes only because they're beautiful. I'm thankful that after the year that we've had, that comfort is now more of a priority to brands because I don't believe that you need to settle for uncomfortable shoes. If you love this one stiletto and they're painfully uncomfortable, but they look beautiful just on display in your closet or wherever you are keeping your shoes, then do it. Put it on display. You can put it next to some roses. I don't know. But don't put your feet in them. There's no sense in that. You don't need to do that. There are some absolutely comfortable heels out there. I love wedges, block heels. I love something that has like this square toe. It doesn't have to always come to a point, even though I do love a good pointed shoe, I'm not gonna lie. And then you can always wear flats. I love that as well. Even platform shoes that are basically flats but elevated is a great in-between option. Next, items that are too costumey. So this is especially true if you are thrifting. It's something to be mindful of. I absolutely adore walking into a charming vintage shop and sorting through old jackets from the 1970s, but be mindful on how you plan to style it. If you dress head to toe in genuine items from a time period, you are now wearing a period costume. And I'm speaking as a historical fiction fan. If I think back on all of the historical films and series that I've seen where they make characters look of a time period, they still try to make that person look relevant to a current audience. The same is true with clothes. So if you could buy something that you could end up being a bit like a costume and you're kind of on the fence if it's too much for that period, think of ways where you can bring it into this decade. So style it with modern accessories, or take it to a tailor and crop it up and make it into something that's unique and your own and works for you. This is where you can become your own fashion designer. The next regret is buying the wrong color choice. We've all tried on a color that we really love. We look in the mirror and it just looks all wrong. Even a little bit of research on what color suits your skin tone will help you never regret buying the wrong color again. But you don't need to feel limited by this either, because there are warm and cool versions to every color. So if your skin, for instance, leans more on the warm side, like if you have a golden tone to your skin or a yellow tone to your skin or like peach notes or olive notes, this can happen at a range of skin colors. That means that if you're wearing a blue, you should have a warmer blue, and that actually does exist. If you think about how you could have cold, steely blues or lavender blues, stay away from those. Instead, you can choose rich blues like indigos, and that's true of any color on the whole color wheel. The next regret is buying a piece just because you saw other people wear it. So really, you need to do soul searching on what style truly represents your personal style. So if you saw somebody else wear it, on the surface, you both have a shared taste. It's great to have things in common with other people. I think we need more of that in our world. But if I were to just go and buy something because I saw somebody else wear it, then we haven't really moved past that middle school era where we did the same thing, have we? You need to actually find this and explore your personal style for yourself. And if you feel lost on how to do this, I talk much more in depth about this in my course that I mentioned earlier. And the last thing is buying something without looking at the return policy or the size guide. This is especially true for online shopping, where it's a little bit trickier to return things or to know if it fits you before you buy it. You want to look at the size guide on the item that you are interested in, and also the store's return policy. Look for things like if it's actually going to give you cash back, not just a store credit, and you'll want at least a couple weeks from delivery to send it back. Also, don't just shop your normal size, put it in the cart, buy it, and move on with life. It's helpful to know, number one, if it says to size up or down, but the best thing ever, absolute best thing, is when a brand gives you garment measurements on their website so that you can compare them to your own body measurements. That really helps me to never get a purchase wrong, and things just fit like a glove when they arrive at my door. And that's more rewarding, I think, as a shopping experience than being like completely bummed out that the size was wrong. If they don't list the garment measurements on the website, it's really easy just to send the brand a quick email. I do this all the time, and I ask for garment measurements for at least one or two sizes that I'm interested in. And those were my tips on how to avoid buyer's remorse with your next purchase. I hope that you found it helpful. And remember, if you're interested in joining my upcoming masterclass, you can just head over to dearlybethany.com for more information, or else just click the link in the description box below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.